My name is Beffer, and I graduate in May. I've played soccer here for 4 years. It's always been a dream of mine to play at Oklahoma State, and luckily I was able to have 4 great years here. We just came off of the Big 12, so that was really cool to end on. And then post-grad, I'm going to actually try and keep playing, which was kind of a risk for me because I'll graduate with a degree in finance that I'm really proud of and I definitely want to keep using. But I'm going to take a year and play and kind of experience the professional level and hopefully just kind of see what that brings me and get some experience, whether it's professionally, career-wise, or with soccer. And then I want to come back and work in finance, whether that be for a corporate bank, or I hopefully want to end up in a sports franchise and kind of be in a finance or administration role, and hopefully at one point be in a leadership role for a sports franchise. So that's kind of my path and what my plan is, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's really important that women, play a big role in the sports industry because, girls are just as passionate about the games as boys are, and I've kind of seen that firsthand, growing up and playing here. You have little girls that, kind of idolize you and look up to you, and I think that's really important, and I'm fortunate enough I'll be playing for a team this summer called Fortuna Tulsa, and they're kind of taking that to the next level. I'll kind of get to see firsthand how they interact with local girls and how they can kind of give them something to look up to. And for me as a professional, I want to be a part of that, and I think it's really cool that I'll get to be a part of that. And just trying to make a statement in the sports industry that women, put as much work into sports as men, and women, have just as much knowledge as men and can really be a big asset to the companies. And I think that's, really important that they have that same kind of equality in sports. And so for me, moving forward in my career, I have grown up really passionate about the sport, and I've, run into a lot of people that have had a lot of influence on me, both, men and women, and I definitely want to continue my career in the sports industry and kind of make an impact. And I feel like I have a lot to offer, and I feel like girls, it's just kind of a different perspective, and I think that they do bring a lot to the table and can make an impact. And I think that it is I don't know, I think it's really important that women feel that they can bring something new to the table and be a big asset to these companies in sports. Just because they might not have played the sport or haven't played as long doesn't mean that they can't be an asset to the company. I actually had the privilege to work for Sporting Kansas City for 2 summers, and that was a really good experience for me because it kind of gave me I'd never worked in a professional setting before. I'd always been in soccer, and so especially in the sports industry, that was something that kind of hopefully will help me transition into my career in sports. But the first year when I worked in the ops department, I was one of, I think, 3 out of 25 there were 3 girls out of the 25 kind of ops department, and that was really interesting because you're obviously outnumbered, and at the beginning there was definitely a little intimidation, but I bonded with the girls pretty quickly, and we knew that we were valuable to that team. And by the end of the summer, we were kind of leaders of the group, and 2 of us actually got called back by Sporting I was called back to be the finance and accounting intern the following summer, and then my friend Katie ended up being called back to work for them in their development for youth soccer program. And we were actually 2 of the few people that did get called back for Sporting. So I think that says a lot because we were able to, kind of find our way and show the whole staff that even though we, were kind of the minority in the group, that we were extremely valuable to the company, and they saw that and recognized that, and we made an impact in a short amount of time. And for me, the following summer and in finance and accounting, it was the same thing, and I was really fortunate to work for my boss, Ashley Carroll, but she was the director of finance for Sporting, and it was we kind of bonded in that because it was the same thing for her. She was the only girl in her department, and she had a huge role and had a lot of responsibility, and a lot of people looked up to her, and it was really cool working for her because we actually talked about that, and we were able to kind of understand that you might be outnumbered, but you bring a lot to the table, and Sporting recognized that, and they totally embraced that. And it was a really cool experience for me because I was able to kind of gain more confidence in myself and what I can bring to the table. And even if it's more, even in finance, like my major, I am one of the few girls in my major, and that's definitely growing. It's not like as I don't know what the word is. It's not as small. The numbers aren't as small for women as in some of the other industries, but it's definitely a minority. And it was kind of cool for me because I excelled in that internship, and I was able to create a lot of really good relationships and get a lot of experience and kind of, see what I could do as a professional. And it was really rewarding, and I think that it kind of reiterated how even if, it is a sports industry, but women can bring a lot to the table, whether it's in sports or analytics or things that, might not traditionally be what we do, but it's definitely there and people are starting to take notice. And it was a great experience for me, and they have a lot of respect for me, and I have an immense amount of respect for them, and I hope that I can work for a franchise like that in the future, and that's kind of my end goal. And that was a great experience for me to kind of hang on to moving forward. I think it's really important too how Title IX makes it possible for girls to have the same access to facilities and opportunities that men do. And I know something that we're really proud of, and I know that Mike Holder's proud of, is that we are building, they've started construction for the new soccer stadium, which is really cool because it's one of, I don't know how many exactly, but it's one of the few that's strictly a female facility. And I know that we've played at numerous facilities throughout my career where they share it with the men. And I think that's really cool that, they've put the time and money to make a world-class facility for the women here to train and get better and, win titles for the school. So I think that's makes a statement, definitely, and I think that's important too because, obviously our men's teams deserve the top-notch facilities as well, but the women do too because we, even though it might not be a huge, revenue, like income like football or basketball for the school, we're still bringing recognition to the school, and the girls that are a part of this program go out into the community and, say I'm from Oklahoma State, and a lot of them, I have friends that have gone on to work in sports industry, and they're proud to say they're from Oklahoma State and that they had, great facilities and that they were supported by the university. And I think it's really important for women in sports to just, have that same experience that the men do, and with just facilities and resources, and have the same opportunities that they have to be successful in their sports and whatever they do professionally. So for any girls that are interested in getting into the sports industry, I think it's really important to just stay confident in your abilities and confident in what you bring to the table, and know that you have just as much worth as the guy next to you in the office. And I think it's definitely grown. Women are more making a presence in the sports industry, and they continue to, but I think it's still important to just make sure that you're confident in what you're doing and know that you're there for a reason and that you can be an asset to the company. And I also just kind of, if you're starting out, take any opportunity you can to get experience, even if it's not something that you might be interested in. I was lucky enough to work for a professional sports team young in my career, and it was in operations. And end goal, I don't want to be in operations, but I learned so much from it, and I gained a lot of really good experience and was kind of able to see what I can bring to the table. Even if it's something that I might not be interested in, I was able to use my skills still in that department and make an impact. And it was really rewarding for me because they saw that, and they believed in me and gave me more opportunities in a department that I wanted to be in and that I excelled in. And so you never know what might happen, and who you might meet and who they might know. And so I think it's really important to meet as many people as you can, create relationships that can potentially help you. And this sounds really cliche, but if you kind of treat people the way that they would want to treat you back, they'll want to help you in your career and they'll want you to succeed. And I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of really good people that see the value in me in sports and want me to succeed, and have given me a lot of opportunities to do so and move forward in my professional career in the sports industry. So that's my biggest advice, I think, is to just be confident in what you do. Know that you are capable and you can learn too. If someone next to you, knows more, learn from them. And it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to ask questions, and that only makes you better. And people are receptive of that if you don't act like you know everything, because you don't. And there's so many things that you can learn on the job that I don't learn in class. And I think it's just really important that you always keep your mind open to learning new things. And even if it's not something that you thought you might want to do, anything in the sports industry can lead you down a path that might be good for you, or even might be something that you didn't know you wanted to do. So I think that's just my biggest advice in a nutshell. But just be confident in what you do and be open-minded, and I think it will take you far.